dude who's come up recently, and it was a name that has apparently been floated back to the Cutter Gauthier trade, is Marco Rossi in Minnesota. Why does his name keep showing up? Like, it seems like that's a dude they'd want to keep. Why does it seem as if they want to trade him?
You would think. Basically, what I've heard, and almost all of this is coming from Michael Russo, who is the Wild beat writer who just knows everything on that beat. He still works for The Athletic. He was my colleague for a long time.
He's really good.
He's as plugged in as any beat writer is on any beat in the NHL. And what he's more or less said on his podcast and in the articles that I read by him is that for whatever reason, Guerin, the general manager of the Wild, just doesn't really like him. He isn't sold on him, and he knows that he's going to have to give Marco Rossi, who is objectively speaking a good player, he's going to have to give him a long-term deal. Like, that's what he's going to need when he signs his next contract. And I just get the sense from reading Russo that Guerin isn't sold enough to feel comfortable to do that yet. I don't know if it's just the size, but it might just be the size, that maybe Rossi is just too small. He's just too small for someone like Guerin, who was, a bigger, tough dude, to want to be a core player on his team. It might be that simple, especially given the fact that they already have Kaprizov, who, they're not getting rid of him. If he's leaving, it's because Kaprizov wants to leave in free agency. It's not because Minnesota is going to be giving up on him. Maybe Guerin looks at it and he's like, well, having those two guys just makes our team too small at the top of the lineup. I think that's dumb. And I think Mike Russo thinks that's dumb. But I could see Guerin thinking that. And if that's the case, this is where, if you're the Flyers, look, if this rebuild is going to work the way they want it to work, at least once, ideally multiple times, but at least once, they have to take advantage of another organization doing something stupid. And this could be an example of an organization souring on a player for a stupid reason. And you know what? Go out there and take advantage of that stupidity.
Ideally, your 1C on a cup contender is that badass, is that dude who can play in all situations and sets a physical tone as well as scores and all that stuff. I just feel like if you're Minnesota, have they ever been to a conference final? Like, I don't know, build a different way. Like, okay, make sure your third and fourth line are filled with badasses, and you have Joel Eriksson Ek and those sorts of guys. Have that, and then see if you can create some room. I just watched a couple of years ago, Jonathan Marchessault win a Conn Smythe. Danny Briere is Charlie's size. He's one of the best playoff performers I ever saw. Yes, ideally, you want a 6'2", 210-pound badass. That would be great. If if you could have 12 Kachuk brothers, dope. But they're really hard to find. I just don't figure something else out. But if they can't, that's something I would very much be interested in taking advantage of, Charlie.
We all silly like the mayor.